Hello, welcome back. We are here for another State of Pauper combo video. I hope you guys are ready for a terrible time, because it's not looking great. This week was even worse than last week, so let's just get right on into it. So there will be a few things that are a little different this time. First off, I am not going to be giving a breakdown of how all of the combo decks work this week. If you are interested, pretty much everything that was in this week's video was in last week's video. In fact, there were more combo decks in last week's video than there were in this week's video. So if you want to see a breakdown on how most of those work, just go watch that first video on the meta breakdown for combo. Uh, Otherwise, there is one deck this week that didn't show up last week, so when we get to that one, I'll pull it up. I should have done that ahead of time, but whatever. So, starting off with Cycle Storm, it saw 0 Magic the Gathering League showings, no 5-0s this week. Did not appear at all in any challenges, nobody even bothered to run it. That's a little sad considering that we've got the new page tech, right? So you would think people would want to be hyped up on that. I personally think that it makes the deck a lot better. I think that Cycle Storm is a deck that rewards really skilled play with a lot of wins. So it's an interesting question to find out. Do people just feel like they can't win on Cycle Storm, even with the upgrades, so they're not playing it? People feel like they can't play Cycle Storm because of their skill. I understand that this is right now a 4 spell bomb format. Main deck in some cases. People are sitting there speculating on the fams Discord about running 4 Relic of Progenitus in their main decks sometimes. We're just at that stage where in 22% of all decks, Sneaky Snacker has pushed everyone there. Then when you combine it with the fact that you get to 4 free real estate, hit 5 to 10 ancillary decks, plus the minor synergies of a bunch of meta decks, it's just too free. So I can see people being scared off of Cycle Storm right now, but to be honest, out of the graveyard based combo decks, Cycle Storm is the one that I think has the most legs to stand on because it has the most legs. I'll rephrase that a little different. It's the best at walking if you get kicked in the shins. You can still keep going. If anyone needs help understanding how to do that, my recommendation is to hit up Bryant Cook's videos. That's over at the Epic Storm channel. He's mainly a legacy player. He plays combo decks, but when he does play Pauper, every month or so, he throws up a couple Pauper videos. It's always combo, and it's mostly Cycle Storm, and he is a peak player. Another great one to check out is Cali Kai's. He's the guy who runs the FAMS Discord. He does a lot of Ruby Storm gameplay, and he's a very skilled Cycle Storm player as well. He does, sorry, you know, he does sideboard guides on his Patreon at a very reasonable rate. He puts out tons of videos, and they're always worth checking out, especially the members only ones. I don't want to shill too hard, but Callie is the guy who got me into Pauper, so I always want to make sure that he gets a good word. It's just the way it is. Cycle Storm did see some play at paper events, although no particularly good placements. It's a little unfortunate. So the Freak TVL Pauper Store Championship, shout out to you guys. No clue where you're at. There was one person playing it that went 1, 2, and 2. And then at the Etapa CLM Pauper, which I don't even know what that is. Both of these events had about 30 people though. 2 players both went 1, 3. So Cycle Storm unfortunately cycled out this week. It looks like no love, even with the new Page Loose Leaf edition. Altertron also saw big decline. Nobody played it anywhere. That's a little sad because if I remember correctly, last week Cali Kais was posting videos of him getting some good Ultratron results, so I would have thought that that would excite people to play the deck a little bit more. One of the cool things about Ultratron is like Cycle Storm, it's fairly resistant to graveyard hate comparatively for a combo deck, so you can kind of just jam it into that 4 spell bomb format if you're good at what you're doing. A lot of people don't understand though, and this is particularly true for paper events where you don't have access to as much play. You've got to play a deck a lot to get good at it. I don't just mean, oh, this is my main deck. I mean, you've got to wake up, go on to the YouTube and watch an Alter Storm guy play a video. Then you've got to go to the Alter Storm Discord and spend an hour chatting with those guys. Then you call up your buddy on the webcam and you tell him to whip out his red burn deck again because you need to practice, and you spend 4 hours playing Ultratron against him. Then you join a league. Then this, that, and the other. I know that it can sound like a lot. People are doing the same thing for these other decks too, right? Decks that don't have nearly the same investment in reading a bunch of complicated Rube Goldbergy shit. I understand that it looks like a lot and it looks like it's overwhelming. But the truth is that the more you do it, the easier it'll get. Doesn't matter what it is. So, if you are thinking about picking up a deck like Cycle Storm, Ultratron, and you're looking at the format and saying, oh, I don't want to play these into this, think twice. Cast it with flashback. You might be making a bad choice if you like combo. This this was just a meme that Seko or Sesta, one of those C name guys, played. I thought the deck was cool. They seem to hate it, so they haven't played it anymore and it hasn't done anything and we can move on. Spy also saw a slight dip from last week, but not by much. Last week it had 7 MTGO League finishes. This week it's just got 5. That's still more than any other combo deck out there. I think that Spy is, as always, the kind of only seriously taken combo deck in the format. It does help that it's got the pivot plan, right? So when your comboing isn't going great, you just play a bunch of Generous Sense and turn them sideways. And there are some tools to beat graveyard hate, so it's not like you're just at the mercy of if your opponent luck sacks or not. It's clearly, it's not the best deck out there, right? It's not really what I would call tier 1, but it's not completely unplayable. If you put the work in, you can get spy wins. We did see one 7th place finish for an MTGO challenge on the 8th, a couple days ago. And then it did see, looks like 3 paper events. No, 2. We had the LP Adriatica 7 Degrees Tapa at Archibogo Molino, Senegalia, Italy. And that was actually first placed by combo by Marco Franceschini. Franceschini. And then in the Bristol Pauper League, shout out to you guys, we had a 2-0. It looked like that was a 3-round event. So I'm not sure if they went 2-0 and dropped or what happened, but not a lot going on from Spy, but more than anything else. Walls had a slight bump this week in the leagues. Apace had 2 of them, and Taute had 1. Taute also took it into MTGO challenges a couple times. He ended up getting a 4th place finish on the challenge on the 8th. At that same event, Deszinovich had an 8th place finish. And on the 9th, Taute ended up getting, on the 7th, Taute also had a 9th place finish in the MTGO challenge. So Walls is doing not terrible in the league right now. It's gotten a little bump up in play. And it's kind of middling in the challenges, right? 4th is good. 8th isn't bad. Once you're in the 9th, you're starting to kind of like if this was a paper tournament, these 2 placings would definitely start to fall out of pricing, right? Um, Well, 8th would begin. 9th would be where you're starting to look like, damn it, could have done better. They did have one showing at a paper event, the Big Magic Weekend 2026. That was in Brest. Don't know where Brest is. Wish. And that was on the 18th. So Walls had a slight bump, but otherwise, like the rest of the combo decks, it's just not really doing anything. Ruby Storm had a slight dip. Actually, we're just going to delete that. Sorry, guys. 2 League 5-0s, no challenge representation, 2 paper events, a 2-2 at Augusto Yasuda 4 etapa CLM. Oh, sorry. Augusto Yasuda went 2-2 at 4 etapa CLM. And at Lega Pauper Albanga Tapa, a gentleman by the name of Stagioni went 1-1. So Ruby Storm's feeling a little bit sad right now. I know that one of these league finishes was Kalikai's, who in a lot of ways you could say carries the deck. So Ruby Storm not doing so great. I do know I recently saw some commentary from Kalikai's that he thinks Ruby Storm is a stronger deck than Cycle Storm right now. I do think Ruby Storm has the potential to be an absolutely nuts deck, especially compared to how it used to be when it was a gutter snipe deck, right? So when it was a gutter snipe deck, you had to play your whole deck out, sometimes twice, to win. Here, you just go first day of class, make 6 4/4s. If you don't win now, you're going to win in 2 turns. I like this version. So I would love to see more people play Ruby Storm. It's not as click intensive as it looks. You get to be an 8 blast deck, which, yes, that is not cheap, but kicks a lot of ass. That's fun. So Ruby Storm also on my list of decks I could recommend people pick up. Flickertron. I saw one Flickertron list in the dumps, right? I got all excited. I clicked on it. It's just ghostly flickering mole drifters. It's big fams, dog. Like I don't know how else to explain it. It's 7 drops and mole drifter and ghostly flicker, and that's Flickertron. Anyways, wasn't a combo deck. We can move on. No camera decks made it this week. I think people understandably do not want to click out camera and pizza combos online. I'm actually surprised not to see more paper event results, although I'm going to be honest with you, and actually I need to make a note on that. We haven't been able to really get the super deepest results, right? So everything we're gathering is from MTG Goldfish. MTG Goldfish doesn't catch every single event. It's just an unfortunate reality. But as far as camera and pizza combos go, it's not looking great. People don't want to click this much online. And I think that when a deck doesn't see play online, it just doesn't really enter the cultural zeitgeist for the paper players. A lot of paper players go to the internet to figure out what's hot and what's going, and people tend to not realize just how moto centric, Magic the Gathering Online centric this format really is. Even myself, when I look at this, it's really hard for me to process and analyze paper events because I exclusively play online. And when I'm not able to really dive super deeply into all of the paper events, it can be a little hard to track some of these difficult on MTG Online to play decks. So we don't really have anything showing for the sewer camera combo decks right now. We did see one cool deck, 4-color goblin combo. So that's the play a persist creature and first day of class and a sacrifice outlet. I think I pulled this deck up so that we could take a look could have swore. All right, give me a second. This will be easy to find because I wrote down the event. I'm sorry, guys. Bada bang. Bada boom. Let me bring this over for you. Wha-bam. Zing. All right, so the Mont Weekly Pauper F&M event. The first place finish going 3-1 was Grixis Goblins by Lucas Bouzon. The combo here is to get something like Skirk Prospector, which allows you to sacrifice a goblin to make red mana. Putrid Goblin, which has Persist. When it dies, you can return it to the battlefield with a -1/-1 counter on it. That's only if it didn't already have a -1/-1 counter on it. And you use First Day of Class. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gains haste until end of turn. To infinitely loop your Putrid Goblin for whatever your payoff is. So in this case, infinite mana, which you then use to either play your deck with Dark Dweller Oracle, burn your opponent directly with a replicated Pyromatics, or you can just play out a big board of dudes and swing. So combo like this used to be a lot more popular, and it had a bit of a falling off. I was pretty sure that when Avatar came out, we would end up seeing a resurgence of this deck because of the ability to have a lesson board. And I was partially right. There has been a small resurgence, but a small resurgence of 0 is still an infinitesimally small amount. So, let's talk about this. Combos that are easy to destroy oftentimes involve one of 3 or more of the 3 metrics, and those are creatures, the graveyard, how many pieces it has. This, and I'm not here to criticize your list, by the way. Congratulations on winning 3-1 at the weekly F&M event. I am impressed. And I'm not trying to speak down about anything going on here. I'm just talking about combo decks in general. A combo like this involves multiple creatures, a non-creature spell, your graveyard, and a payoff for the combo. So not only do you not need to have the combo, but then you need to have something to do with it once you've comboed. This means that if someone interrupts your graveyard, your creatures, your hand, your win con, your payoff, all of the rest of the deck stops working. This deck isn't a good aggro deck when it's not comboing. So you can't just play dudes, turn stuff sideways, and go, oh, dang. They killed the combo, but it doesn't matter. I killed them with a 5/5. And it doesn't have some sort of built-in, oh, no, I'm just going to kill you around the graveyard. Hey, I'm play my thing. You have to side in a one of Masked Vandal that counts as a goblin so that you can go search for it with a, how much mana? 3 mana Goblin Matron, so that's a 5 mana play to get a one of that you cannot have countered or Mesmeric Fiended from your hand, right? You do have the Origin of Metal Bending that you can go get. So you cast your first day of class, grab Origin of Metal Bending, destroy their on-field Relic of Progenitus or Nile Spellbomb. However, you only have one Origin, and that doesn't stop Fairy Macabre, double Spellbomb, which happens, especially in a format where people are starting to seriously consider 4 Spellbombs main or 4 Relics main in random decks. And even if you hedge for, well, most people are only going to play good decks. The truth is, someone in that league, someone in that paper event, and someone in that challenge is playing some fucking shit, man. And it's going to get you. So you've just got to prepare. Now, I love this combo. So I'm not saying people shouldn't play it. I am saying, and this is particularly for the brewers out there, if you're going to build a combo deck right now, try to avoid your graveyard. Try to avoid 3, 4, 5 cards. Try to avoid multiple creatures and things that can't do anything on their own. I'll give you some examples of combo decks that I've tried to brew recently where I just stumbled into some of these issues, and no matter how hard I tried, no matter what tweaking and changing and practicing I did, nothing just seemed to fix out of it. Anyways, moving on, one more, we've got a Zubera Storm list. That was actually the other one that I meant to save, and I seem to have just accidentally closed while I was doing this. So that was in the Bristol Pauper League. And they did pretty poorly. They were the last place finisher. You know what? They took it. They were brave. They put in their work. Didn't pan out. Props to them for doing something that no one else would. You know, in my eyes, that instantly puts them like 2 or 3 tiers above all the dudes that just brought somebody else's deck and followed the instructions. So, how does Zubera combo work? This one's pretty cool. Your goal is to play, sacrifice, recur, and loop Floating Dream Zubera. So the way this works is whenever it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, okay, old terminology, whenever Floating Dream Zubera dies, you draw a card, this is not a May, for each Zubera that has died this turn. So, you'll play cards like Not Dead After All, which when the creature dies, it brings it immediately back to the field, as well as, I'm looking to see, aha. So in this case, they use Viscera Seer as their sacrifice outlet. You get to sacrifice a creature and scry one. This is good for this kind of combo deck because it allows you to see just a little bit deeper into your deck. And I'm curious to see if they're running any other sacrifice outlets. It looks like they're not. So in my opinion, that is a little bit of a flaw in the deck construction. I wouldn't be able to quote you the exact odds on finding a Viscera and on time to execute the combo, but I do know that 4 is a little low. So I would imagine if we were to take a peek at, hold on, I want to take a look at one of Bryant Cook's Zubera Storm lists. Let's make sure to filter for Pauper. So let's see if we got anything from Mr. Cook. Nothing here. Alright, so we'll search by his name. Right, alright. I got this. Bada bing. Hold on while I pause this. Bada boom. Dada ding. Deck list. Alright. So, he is on Ashnod's Altar, yes. And Rowan's Grim Search. Both of these can serve as sacrifice outlets. Ashnod's Altar does not dig through your deck like Viscera's Seer does. However, it provides you the mana that you need to keep fueling more of these spells that allow you to, for example, cast Rowan's Grim Search, which is an extremely potent dig and draw spell that you could sacrifice your Floating Dream Zubera to keep going. So let's go ahead and make our way back over to, oh my god, list. I'll get better at this as time goes on, guys. I really appreciate that you're here bearing with me for this. Fumbles and weirdness and all. What he is trying out, though, is 4 of the new page loose leaf tech. So it seems that, much like the Cycle Storm, your intent here is to make page more likely to hit your non-creature spells. Unfortunately, what I don't really particularly see myself here compared to, say, Cycle Storm is that when you're not running, uh, come on, Reaping the Graves, you don't really get to just bring back 3-page loose leafs at once. Now, this actually reminds me of an ancient Zubera Storm deck I made almost a year ago that ran both Ashnod's Altar and something that I think would actually be really useful with page loose leaf. So let me go ahead and pull this up and show it to you guys. Bada bing, bada boom. This is my old Zubera Ashnod's Altar list. So, this is the card I'm talking about. Echoing Return. 1 black mana. Return target creature card and all other cards with the same name as that card from your graveyard to your hand. So, my idea was, rather than returning 1 Zubera back to play multiple times, I'm going to play and sacrifice multiple Zubera several times to Ashnod's Altar, using Energy Refractor to filter that mana back into being able to recast the Zuberas. This was a crazy, convoluted, weird combo deck. I ain't gonna lie. I don't even remember if it was any good or not. And to be honest, this was before I started playing on MTGO even. So I am very interested in possibly trying Page Loose Leaf out in something like this, right? Where I am using Page to go get 1 Echoing Return that gets back all of my pages that I can use to go get another Echoing Return to get back multiple Zuberas, to go get another Echoing Return to get back the Zuberas again, yada yada. I don't know if that's exactly how the line would go. Obviously, that's, ignoring the fact that I'm going to hit some of these other spells. But Page makes me interested in revisiting this list, so we'll potentially get to that. All right. So that's pretty much all of the decks that actually are full combo decks, in my opinion, and we'll touch more on that in a moment, that actually made it in. I did have a few questions pop up in the Familiars Discord, and I would like to mention that if anyone has any questions for me, or they have things that they'd like to see covered in the video, or they want to argue with me about what decks are considered combo or not, please do so in the comments section of the video. I understand that a lot of us are all just chilling in the Discord together, but I'm going to be real with you. I need engagement. I want my channel to do well, and I also want to feel motivated to do this. And part of the way you can help me do that is engaging with me on my YouTube channel and not in the Discord, unless you're like actually looking to possibly come join my Discord, hang out, brew decks with me and the bros, and actually do that. Otherwise, if we're just trying to you know, talk shop on combo and the meta, hit me up down in that comment section, please. So, first question, are all combo decks basically currently tier 3 on MTGO in that they need to get lucky match pairings or exploit very narrow flaws in the middle to win? Parentheses, probably yes. That's an interesting question because I actually think all combo decks are currently tier 4, just in general. Uh, you could maybe make an exception for Cycle Storm and Ruby Storm if specifically Bryant Cook or Callie Kaiser playing them. No disrespect to the literal maybe one other person that played either of those decks this week. I love you. I'm glad you're here. But this archetype at the moment is currently carried by basically those decks and those pilots. Spy Combo is like an abomination of nature that shouldn't be in Magic the Gathering. So yeah, it's there. Yeah, it does better than all the other combo decks, but as far as I'm concerned, that thing's tier trash. We shouldn't be dealing with Spy in any format, in any reason. It's not a Magic card. That's a hot take. I'm sure plenty of people think I'm an idiot for having it. That's how it is. I don't think it's a matter of they need to get lucky into their match pairings or exploit very narrow flaws in the meta to win. I think that people who are really good at Magic can win through bad pairings. So if you want to play one of these combo decks, you're playing an uphill battle. But if you're a good player, you'll win anyways. You'll win the uphill battles. And when you stop playing this deck, when you're like, all right, I need a break, man. I have lost turn one spell bomb. Who many times? You're going to go destroy people on something that's not such a fight. I know it might sound far-fetched, but I promise you, playing bad decks, playing struggle, playing uphill, playing from behind makes you a better player. It teaches you how to stretch every resource as far as you can take it, how to really plan and time to make things impact as much as possible because your stuff is weak. You have to you have to not waste it. So yes, combo decks all suck right now. MTGO, paper, I wouldn't suggest that if you're trying to actually like money on the line or clout chase or pursue your dream of being a Magic Pro, whatever you think you got, don't put your bet on combo. Put your bet on yourself. Put your bet that you can win no matter what pile of fucking steaming hot trash you've been handed, and you're gonna take it to the fucking stars and back and show everyone that, yeah, FAMS might be a slow, clunky deck that requires 6 cards to win, but hand it to Escape and he'll get 3 trophies in a week, and every non-trophy is a 4-1 with an 80% win rate. Because all he's been doing is struggling and playing from behind for a year. And now he's actually developed skills that bring him to another level. Question 2. Are there any combo decks that are tier 2 or better in paper due to clock rules and niche printings, i.e. Archaeomender? So for those who are curious what the Archaeomender reference is, Archaeomender is a common that was only printed in Jumpstart. I put it in one of my combo brews. It's a sewer cam combo deck that also tries to be kind of like a trinket mage control deck. And the idea was that since a lot of our artifacts that we use just over the course of the game, such as our cameras and our cryogen relics, end up in the graveyard, as well as the fact that people are going to be actively trying to interrupt that plan, Archaeomender gives you like a generic catch-all extra copy of those cards in that deck, just attached to a 2/3 body. Comparatively speaking, 2/3 is not bad. Now, the problem with this card, it's impossible to get in paper. You go to all the stores in your town, none of them will have it. You're basically buy it online or don't get it. Now, I don't really think that that's crazy relevant to this. I just wanted to explain some of the context here. Are there any decks that are tier 2 or better in paper due to clock rules and niche printings? I'm going to have to say I don't think so. I do think that Sewer Cam combo is an underexplored and underplayed archetype. Part of that is it's impossible to play on MTGO. Same with Pizza Druid. Uh, Eventually, at some point, someone's going to start to do a little better with these decks. They'll pick up a little steam, but I think as long as either of those can't be executed without spending. Actually, I'm going to be real. It's not even the execution that's the problem, right? It's the way Pauper as a format is structured. You can combo with pizza combo and sewer cam combo pretty quickly. 2 or 3 minutes tops. You kill someone when you combo out on turn 3. Problem is that setting up these combo decks in a position to combo in a format that is extremely grindy and atrocious can be a little hard. You're never gonna have your opponent just run out of the ability to answer your stuff. They're not gonna. Oh, I just don't have it. And as much as I hate to say it, they're not gonna just not have it. There's too much card draw in every color, and too much ways to get back and reuse stuff that when you're trying to get this, make it survive a turn, make it last, have it all at the same time, and all your opponent has to do is go Lembus into sack, Lembus into sack, Lembus into sack, Lembus, bolt, 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 Doomblade, 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 Doomblade. I draw 10 cards. Doesn't matter. So what happens is you will eventually combo off sometimes, a lot of the time even. But it'll be turn 13, and you had to hold 3 counter spells to do it, and now you will better frickin' click fast. And so then it becomes unattainable. So I think that if there was a way for us to have a slow to execute combo that just was easier to go off, it wouldn't matter that it was slow. It would just matter that it could go off without spending 10, 15 turns getting there. Which combo decks do you select for different paper metas, dog? I don't play paper. I play MTGO. I had to give up paper because I have a dog, another dog, a cat, a rabbit, had pet rats, plan to get more, and pets do things like knock your stack of cards over while you're not home because your cat hates that you play Magic instead of petting it 24 hours a day. And then you knock your Magic cards on the floor and your dog is over here sniffing around looking for the Subway wrapper you didn't throw in the trash, and he steps on your Magic cards, and you come home and you crash out at your pets because they stepped on your Magic cards, and you don't want to sit here and be mad at your pets because your pieces of cardboard got hurt. So you say, fuck it. My pets can't step on my Magic cards if they're all on my computer. And if they step on my computer, well, my neighbor likes cats. Anyways, there were a few other things that I wanted to cover in this video. First, why do I not have Poison Storm, Tribe Combo, and Familiars in these dumps? Well, first off, I don't really consider Poison Storm, Familiars, or Tribe to be combo decks. Poison Storm is more like turbo cantrips. It's not really looking to like build up a critical mass of cards that lead to a payoff spell. You just give a guy a poison counter and then cantrip 2 or 3 times a turn for 4 turns until you lose. I don't know what else to say. Tribe if Tribe is a combo deck, then so is Infect and so is Bogles. And so is Elves. Anyways, uh, Tribe's an aggro deck or like a mid-rangey synergy deck. Your goal is to bolt your opponent's dude and then get out a couple sneaky snackers or a 5/5 and turn dudes sideways while bolting their dudes. Yeah, you might play Tribe in your deck, and at some point you're going to turn it into an infect creature and put 5 cards on it and play an inside out. That's an infect deck. That's an aggro deck that just has a cast 6 spells and win thing. It's not a combo. This is going to be the hottest take of them all, and I'm sure the FAMS Discord will rage over this if I was to ever type it in there, but FAMS is neither a control deck nor a combo deck. Both the fact that it can do some stalling, controlling things, or that there is a combo line in the deck is incidental to the actual goal of the deck, which is to be a flicker value mid-range pile. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Yes, it does play some life gain and some counter magic, some snaps, right? That doesn't make you a control deck. That just makes you more controlling than 21 mana 2/1s, 20 lightning bolts, and 20 lands, right? Just because if you have Ghostly Flicker, Archaeomancer, Snap, no, okay, so no Ghostly Flicker. Just because you have Snap, Archaeomancer, 2 bounce lands, 2 familiars, and another payoff spell, you can go mana neutral to make infinite bird tokens, means you're a combo deck. That's not how you kill people 90% of your games. 90% of FAM's games end with I swing with my 2 Muldrifters for the 4th time, or I've got 8 bird tokens. your goal is to have all of your cards provide you value. Everything in your deck is a value play, and it all meshes into itself into another value play before you play your your army of 5 mana 2/2s and 3 mana 1/3s and 4 mana 1/5s to make a gigantic board and start bashing in. So that is why you do not see Poison, Tribe, and Fams featured on these decks channels. If you want to argue about it with me in the comments, I'll reply. I love to argue and I love the engagement. So feel free to tell me just how wrong I am. I do want to talk about a few unexplored combos that I've been trying out, and I want to point out why I haven't really been excited to just run these guys into a league. So the first one I'm going to start off is the one that I actually had the most hope for, and I call this Splinter Twin. So the idea here is to take Luminati's massive cantrip pile 8 snake list, and we randomly cram Gond combo into the deck. So Gond combo works where you play Midnight Guard. It's a 3 mana 2/3. Whenever another creature enters, untap this creature. And you enchant it with the aura Presence of Gone to create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token by tapping the creature it's enchanted to. Now, this results in you making infinite 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. The idea here is to be reminiscent of an older deck from Modern called Splinter Twin. I guess people are still playing it a little bit. But the idea is that you play this kind of tempo-y, mid-rangey, whatever you want to call it, control-y bolts, cantrips, and card draw spells deck that can just randomly out of nowhere win with Splinter Twin. So I guess the way they do it these days is you put your Splinter Twin on fear of missing out. Seems really bad. Because you're gonna draw most of your. But if you try to make too many of them, like if your opponent's got a huge life total, you're just gonna deck before you kill them. And it requires multiple combat phases and only attacking with one, and then two, and then yeah, I can't say I'm a fan of this one. But the original combo was you play a creature called Pestermite. When it enters the battlefield, you can tap or untap target creature, and you enchant it with Splinter Twin. It has tap, make a copy of target creature. So you make a copy of itself, which comes in and untaps it. Do it again. Do it again. So that's kind of what we went with here, right? Well, I took this deck into the practice rooms a lot, and it's like, all right, you beat someone's face in with the terrors. They bring in their graveyard hate. You go for Presence of Gone combo. Presence of Gone is a terrible card. Doesn't do a fucking thing outside of the combo, dude. It just sits in your hand and rots. So you think, all right, I'm only going to have 2 of each in the deck, and I'm going to use the power of all these cantrips to just get it when I need it. If I need to pivot into elves, where they're walling me, oh, well, who's the elf deck now? That actually happened to me once, and it felt great. But really what ends up happening is you go for it, and this gets killed. So then you've made this plan weaker to make this plan not any better. And it just feels like a slog where you've got to fight off spell bombs to make this plan any good. But you've got to fight off all the removal to make this plan any good. And nominally, this plan is what makes it harder for them to fight this plan with removal, but they only need to fight this plan with spell bombs, and so then they can save their removal for this, and it just wasn't winning any games. So then we move on to camera combo. This deck was sick as hell. This deck actually does manage to win some games, right? It can go off really fast, it can go off really easy, it can go off really consistently. But the problem is that if you spend any amount of time at all fighting to get the combo in, by the time you do go off, it oftentimes sucks up what time you had free, and then that's it. You're cooked. So you try to play out your Vidalcan Engineer, which you really kind of need to play out protected because it's a kind of a weak card. Or you have to play it with a crashing drawbridge already in play, which means adding an extra card to the combo, regardless of which way you do. So in this case, the problem is too easy to interrupt. In this case, the problem is the plan B can also get fucked off really easy. Here's one that I had Kali Kai's run as a deck donation for me. So this is a uh, Ruby Storm adjacent combo deck. This tries to play a bit more like how the old style of Ruby Storm used to play, where you would slap a pinger down and then draw through your whole deck. So the reason this doesn't see any play is because just play Ruby Storm, right? The deck's cool though. I would love to see it played more. And the last one, I made a couple versions of this deck I've been working on. This one was actually pretty decent, but it ran into the problem of once you actually combo off, it takes a million years. So the way this one works is you have Seeker of Skybreak, 2 mana, 2/1 to tap and untap target creature, and Hanger Scrounger, 3 mana, 2/1. It has backup 1. When it enters, you can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. If it's another creature, so not this one, then it gives its ability till that creature till the end of the turn. And that ability is whenever that creature becomes tapped, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So you have Seeker of Skybreak target itself so that it goes tap, untap. When it does, you draw a card, or you discard a card and draw a card. From here, you will discard and draw your whole deck, playing out Basking Root Wallas while you do. When your deck is empty, you will Dread Return a Kami of Industry. Dread Return lets you sacrifice 3 of your Root Wallas to reanimate the Kami of Industry from your graveyard. When the Kami of Industry enters, it will reanimate either an Ashnod's Altar if you have Lembas in your hand, or Lembas if you have Ashnod's Altar in your hand. You will then play out 2 Lotus Petals from your hand. So this means you need 3 cards in your hand when you combo off. To then loop the Lembas and a Cauldron Familiar as the only Lembas being the only card in your deck until your opponent's dead. You have the Lembas enter, and while its draw ability is on the stat, you sacrifice it to a Cauldron Familiar, which puts it back in your deck, and then it draws itself. You then sacrifice the Cauldron Familiar to Ashnod's Altar to play the Lembas again and do it again. So getting to here, decently fast. But once you're looping the Lembas, that's when you look over at your clock, realize you're at 19 minutes on clock to your opponent's 22, and go, okay. So, less convoluted, right? Just be a lot less giant deck. This deck's actually kind of sick as hell. And then your opponent goes turn 1 Spellbomb, and your eyes roll up and glaze into the back of your head. So that's kind of where I'm at with combo right now, dudes. I cannot stand flopping down my combo deck, getting all hopped up, excited, and my op is just like, well, I play main deck spell bombs. I play main deck sideboard cards. I play mind deck removal. I just stomp on you. So I'm gonna keep making these videos, but I personally don't really see a lot of incentive to play combo right now. At the moment, it's looking like when I do get myself inspired to actually play some leagues on camera, I'm going to be starting with some of my more controlling or sloppy brews, if I'm being honest. And when I do play some of this combo stuff, I'm going to be sitting there like, well, I might as well just meme with it, to be honest, because if I'm going to get stomped on, I might as well do something funny. So you might end up seeing this before you see anything like Altertron and Cycle Storm and Ruby Storm on my channel, to be honest, because I'm just going to get stomped on those decks, and it's just going to feel like all I'm doing is being stomped with someone else's homework, and that's not what I'm about. So, lastly but not leastly, why am I not using MTG Top 8? The reality of it is that I went to the MTG Top 8 after someone suggested it to me. Their site is a chore to navigate, their UI is ancient, and the way that they present the lists of all of the decks in an event sucks. And I'm not putting myself through the hassle. If I'm missing out on Japanese events, that's unfortunate. If someone wants to do me a solid and pull all of that data and send it to me, by Saturdays or Sundays, I'll talk about it on the channel, but I don't have the time and energy to go through MTG Top 8 myself. I tried. It's stupid. I'm sorry. Love you guys. Thank you for coming and watching. Hopefully, I covered this in a way that actually helps you and makes you think. Remember, Combo might be sucking right now, but you don't have to suck. You can just be awesome and play whatever the hell you want. So, good luck out there. I wish you good fortune in the battles to come, and we will see y'all next time.